a survivor myself. And coming from that space, I knew that I didn't want any other children to sort of experience this. Lisha is a mental health professional. She's a counselor. And as per her words, she's always struggled to work with this issue. It's a very difficult topic. She struggled with reading books about it or engaging in movies that talk about this subject. So she wanted to overcome this fear by directly engaging with the cause. One of the primary programs that we do is awareness building for adults. And adults means any adult stakeholder that engages with a child. It could be a parent, it could be a social worker, it could be a psychologist, it could even be a lawyer. The reason being that we believe that children's safety is an adult's responsibility. And the nature of the issue is such that children are vulnerable. They cannot be expected to protect themselves. So the first step towards breaking the taboo and getting adults to sort of respond to children in distress is to make them aware about the issue. So our first program is a mandatory program that we do with adults. We insist on having at least one parent present so that if the child has to complain, the parent is aware and can respond sensitively to the child. We do an intensive child sexual abuse awareness program. The aim of this program is that it doesn't just raise awareness, it doesn't just educate people about what is child sexual abuse, what are the laws covering it, what are the types of abuse. It's not just touch-based, how do you respond? It also dives deeper into gender sensitivity, talking about why sex education is a really important aspect if you're looking at ending gender-based violence. So we do that as a step-up program for teachers so as to build more equitable classrooms and safer environments for children. With children, we work as per their age group. We start with as young as 4, and we even go up to 18 and sometimes even younger adults. For a 4 to a 6-year-old, their attention span is smaller. So we use a puppet-based, storytelling-based program to help them understand safe and unsafe situations. We help them understand feelings. What if somebody is making you feel unsafe? What are the feelings you can experience? We help them understand how do you report? Who do you tell? Do you have to run? You have to get away from there. So the program is fairly simple. It's just a 20-minute program, but it's an introduction to help children get familiar with things like private body parts and rules about the same. As we move a little older, between the ages of, say, 8 to 12, our programs cover similar topics, but in a slightly more mature way because children now have the understanding to be able to assimilate more information. We teach them about their bodies. Private body parts, names of private body parts are something that is not taught to children. We still use shameful words around it. We'll say, shame, shame, poppy shame, or okay, nangu, pangu. But we believe in removing that shame if you really want children to start talking about issues that they're facing. So we give them the vocabulary for their private body parts, teaching them the correct names. And then we also teach them rules about these private body parts, like nobody's allowed to touch, see, or talk about your private body parts. You are not supposed to do that to anybody else either. If someone is doing that to you, how do you seek help? Who do you seek help? Because for every child, that trusted adult is different. So we help them identify who are these trusted adults, not just one, many, so that if one person doesn't respond, there is a second person. Another important thing that we cover is teaching them about the fact that it's never their fault. Children grow up with huge issues surrounding child sexual abuse with respect to fault. They believe that, I caused this. So helping them dissociate from that feeling is really, really important. We also cover topics like puberty because currently our school systems are not mandating that education, but it is so important for children to understand their body, to understand what's happening with their body as they're growing up. It just helps them know themselves better and feel more confident with who they are as people. We do our programs with boys and girls together, actually all genders together, because we believe that there shouldn't be a segregation. This is important information for boys to have, for girls to have, for any child of any gender to have. Above the age of 12, we start introducing topics like sexual and reproductive health. We talk about healthy relationships. We talk about consent, because this is the age group where they start having feelings towards other people, right? And it's perfectly normal. It's a part of their development process. We help them understand that in India, as per the law, under the ages of 18, you cannot engage in any kind of sexual activity. We talk to them about safety, whether it is to do with STDs, whether it's to do with just relationships in general, understanding what abuse can mean in a relationship. For older children, children who are probably in junior college, like post-school, we also do programs in colleges for the simple reason, again, being that these topics are not covered in school. And knowing about your body and knowing about yourself is such an important part of just being human. So it's important to give students the opportunity to learn about their own self in terms of sexuality, in terms of reproductive rights, in terms of all kinds of rights, actually. We work with social workers in training to sort of help them understand what POCSO is. That's the law that covers child sexual abuse, so that when they're engaging in field with casework, they're able to handle those cases sensitively, because these are, again, trauma-specific cases. These require high sensitivity. They need an understanding of socio-economical, intersectional sort of layering that go around with respect to helping a child who's in danger. What lacks sometimes is the implementation of the law. The law is very strong, but the sensitivity that comes at the various levels, right from the police to the magistrates to lawyers, is something that does need work. So to help explain to lawyers, prosecutors, that when you are cross-questioning a child, what is the kind of language that you should be using? What is the kind of sensitivity that you need to put forward so as to not re-traumatize the child? Rubaroo has a team of in-house, highly trained trauma-specific counselors. We believe that in order to work with children, you do need to have a background in mental health if you're working with an issue like child sexual abuse. So we do not usually employ volunteers or anybody who does not have some kind of background with respect to social work or mental health. A part of our programs involves an individual session with children. What do I mean by that? When we work with children in a classroom, at the end of that program, the conductor, the program officer who has held that program, will sit one-on-one with each and every child in a private space for 5 to 10 minutes. The aim being that, one, to address any questions that the child might have felt too awkward to ask in class. And second is to gently check if they're experiencing any kind of abuse, whether in the past or ongoing. And if that comes to the fore, then that is immediately firstly taken into first aid counseling, and then moves forward into either going into a legal sphere where we file a case. But the idea being that the mental health of the child has to be prioritized. So the counselor will take on the counseling of that child for as long as needed to help the child overcome this trauma. We tie up with organizations like Majlis or Rati that work in the legal sphere of these spaces. So when they have a case that comes in, they handle the legal arm of it. We handle the mental health aspect. So we provide the support person role in terms of mental health for the child victim. We've partnered with over 100 organizations. This includes urban and rural setups, not only Mumbai based, even though we are primarily based out of Mumbai. We've worked with organizations in Jammu and Kashmir, in Rajasthan, in Andhra Pradesh, etc. We have about 89 strong school partnerships and about 10 odd NGO and similar community-based partnerships that we work with. In terms of the number of students that we've worked with, we, over the past 10 years, have worked with more than 35,000 children. Rubaroo is an Urdu-based word. It essentially means having conversations face-to-face. And child sexual abuse is a highly taboo subject that is not spoken about enough in our country. So the idea was to get people to talk about this issue face-to-face, to break the silence around it.